On today's episode of the Warne's Way podcast, I am joined by a man that has 96 first-class games, 78 List A games, 82 T20 games, 7 IPL games, and 2 Test matches, which means he owns a Baggy Green. So welcome to the show, Rob, a.k.a. Bobby Quiney. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for the invite, Jacko. A lot of people say it's a pleasure. It is, and looking through the list, I've only listened to Finchie's podcast thus far, and I'm going to listen to more. But the list of names you've got on, and I guess the themes that you're driving here at the moment have been pretty consistent, and it feels pretty special to be here.
No, thank you for coming on, Bobby. And also have to say thank you because we just filmed your one for the Melbourne Stars the other day as well.
Yeah, so don't you say thank you. I say thank you because you helped me out.
No, because thank you for coming on. I feel like this is a fair trade. This is a good deal.
It worked out well. It's by all reports. I hate listening to myself, so I probably won't listen to this. But the media manager at the Stars said that you were awesome, and all the stories that you come across that would have resonated with all the Stars fans, particularly about your dad. So thank you, mate.
Awesome. No, I know Dad had such a connection to the Melbourne Stars, and we'll talk about that later. But I try and do with this podcast a little bit of like a story in chronological order. So pretty much childhood and all that sort of stuff. But the first thing I'd love to talk to you about is, do you still have your Baggy Green?
Yes. So it's a bit of not a touchy subject, but it's a good conversation piece because obviously, you know, your dad wasn't as big around the nostalgia of a Baggy Green than a lot of others, and
he always wore the floppy.
And then for a lot of my mates and people I come into contact with, they're like, "You own a Baggy Green," and I'm like, I appreciate that. Like, you know, it is a special gift playing. No, but I didn't get to wear it. It's like, you know, it's my own fault, but I didn't get to wear it. So I was in a safe for a couple of years, and then it moved to with my Victoria and St Kilda Cricket Club hat and Mancads, which is a team that Andy and Hamish and Andy, they had a summer series a couple of years. So they were all together there. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I need to wear this hat, right? And so 2 years ago, I go on a golf trip with 3 of my best mates, and we tee off early, and I go, you know what, that's my golf hat today and this weekend. So I have a few beers, I'm wearing my Baggy Green. No one recognises me, so it's not like I'm like trying to be a bit of a dick, but it's more like I want to get use out of that hat. You see everyone on TV, it gets worn out. But mine's brand new. Mine smells out of the box.
So. That's elite. Where was the golf trip?
We got down to the peninsula. I think the courses there you don't have to be members for most of them. I think the courses down there are great. Now you've seen me play not long ago, and I'm ordinary. But on these occasions, I tend to find something and play. I'll say half decent at best. But the part I love about it is going around the golf course with your mates, speaking a bit of shit. But then you break through that and you actually find out how they're going because you don't get to see them or talk to them too much. And I think that's really important.
And I think that's one thing, not to try and make this sad or whatever, but this is one thing that I really feel like I've missed out on with Dad because his whole, like after cricket, his number one hobby was poker and golf. And I used to go everywhere all around the world and caddy and asterisks, which means, you know, you're meant to tell what yardage it is and suggest what club and what the greens are doing, but I wasn't doing any of that. And I think it was just a nice excuse for Dad to say, look, I want to bring my son on a father-son holiday. It's good bonding, all that sort of stuff. But then it wasn't until at the very start of 2022 when I actually started getting some golf lessons with the intention to finally start playing with him. And I was getting some lessons with a pro, and then he was giving me advice, but then Dad would rock up, and then he would try and change his technique, and Dad would make me do his technique. So it was really funny trying to learn.
You were torn, weren't you?
Yeah, so I was like, do I do interlock or not interlock? Where's my feet? All that sort of stuff. But then, after Dad passed, I never got the chance to play with him, so I sort of lost that golf bug. But then seeing you guys play and Brown Dog and all of those boys play at the Shane Warne Legacy versus Roy Simons that Bulls Masters put on in Queensland and did an unbelievable job. And thank you for playing in that, by the way.
No, that's all right.
But that was the first time that I've gotten the golf bug back since.
Love it.
Because I thought, hang on, if there's people that are loving golf and they're all smiling and happy, but this is how they're hitting it, maybe I have a chance. So you've actually inspired me to take up golf again.
How many times have you played since? You wouldn't have had time, would you?
No, I haven't actually played a full round of 9 or 18, but I am organising some lessons with Bakes.
Okay.
We're trying to organise some lessons because we both, at the start of 22 were learning together.
Yep.
Then he's kept playing, but then stopped. So, no, we're going to get the...
Well, hopefully you get out together as well. You can continue the lessons.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bakes will try and take your money as well. But
yeah.
I think if you do something together with someone and you go through the journey together like that, even if it's a 6-month or 12-month journey, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I feel like especially the parallels with that and sport is you're creating something more than just a friendship. You're actually creating a bond because you're going through suffering, success, all these different things together that you're like, even if you don't speak to them or see them in a week or a month or 6 months, you remember those experiences.
Yep.
But yes, going back to your baggy green, you wore it on the golf day. Well, the golf.
Just the golf weekend with the mates.
Golf weekend with your mates. Were they asking to wear it?
They did, yes, and I think a couple teed off with it. We got photos. There was a few drinks involved as well, which I think helps. But I think I'm hoping that I'm a pretty down to earth person as well. So they understand the respect of the baggy green. It wasn't like they were driving over it with the buggy and stuff like that. They would. Yeah. It was like, well, they won't get a chance to necessarily wear a baggy green, so why wouldn't I give them a chance to wear an authentic one? So again, more wear for the baggy green.
Well, it's a pretty good story because you're right. Not many people have them. And Dad was pretty naughty with his. So he's, we've got one just here. There's one in the museum.
Yep.
You get one when you play 100 test matches. But no, Dad was very...
In defence of your dad, he went through the period of, I think, when he first started, the baggy green came with your jumper, your
come in the travel bag.
In the travel bag. So it wasn't... And I think it was Steve Orr that tried to bring a bit of prestige with what the baggy green means and the history and then going forward.
So when someone debuts, there's that handover of...
Yeah, it's a handover. And I guess that I'm only assuming here, the thing that maybe separated that a little bit of nostalgia with your dad was that because Steve Orr mandated that you wear it in the first session, you don't say that stuff to your dad. You don't say you have to do this because then your dad will most likely not want to do it, right? He obviously, as far as I know, loved the baggy green, but like I think I've heard you talk about the tip of the hat at the MCG test. It's with the floppy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's with the floppy, and I actually struggle to find a lot of photos of Dad wearing the baggy green.
Yeah.
And when I do, I sort of look and I go, that just doesn't actually look like him or suit him. You can tell he sort of is a little bit uncomfortable, and obviously he is proud to wear it. He loves representing Australia, but he just was like, just give me that leather ball, let me spin it, and let me take a wicket. That's what I'll do for Australia. I don't have to wear your baggy green, but doing that tipping of the floppy hat at Boxing Day nearly 4 years in a row now seems a bit like surreal because I can't believe we've got 80,
how was
90.
the first one for you guys?
First one was pretty weird because that whole year of 2022, and I've said before, like that whole month of March almost felt like a blur. Like it felt like the same day. What we were able to do or were doing in that month of just firstly finding out actually what the hell's just happened, getting Dad back home, and then trying to organise a private funeral, and then the state memorial, who's coming, who sits where, what music, who's performing, videos from people. Like there was so much that actually went into that month and the state memorial that there is so many people I need to thank and everything. But going to the MCG for the first time was probably one of the weirder feelings just because my whole life I've always known Boxing Day test, MCG, Dad's playing or Dad's commentating. He's going to be there. It's sunny just after Christmas. So, because it was the first Christmas without him, but then going the next day and going to the cricket without him, I feel like you might be able to relate to it too. The first of everything when you've lost a loved one or, that's always the weirdest. So, the first time tipping it was a really cool moment because I'm not sure who actually came up with the idea. Might have been someone from Cricket Australia, but then... for 3:50 p.m., obviously the number of Australian player he was. And, I think it's one of the coolest moments because he has so many honours since he's passed, which I wish he got to see. And it's one thing that frustrates me and Brooke because we're like, well, why didn't they do it when he was here? But obviously there's certain things that just don't happen until after you pass.
I think that's just a human thing. Intentions are good. I know St Kilda Cricket Club had intentions around the Shane Warne stand before he passed.
Yeah.
But to your point about like the first milestone post-death of everything, I found that at times it's not just my dad passed away, came up to 18 years now, and it's the times where you go, like for the first year, you'll go to reach for your phone and go, I'm going to tell oh shit, I can't.
Mm.
To me, they were the ones in the first 12 to 18 months that was like, oh, just give me like a little bit more time with him.
Yeah.
To tell him a proper goodbye, or tell him that, or even hear. And I'm sure he was proud of us kids, but just to hear, like, I'm so proud of you, what you've done. I loved you.
Yeah.
On your way.
And I'm so lucky I got to have so many of those moments with my dad, because we would talk all the time, messages, FaceTime, phone calls, and he would always be telling me, I'm proud of you, Jacko, love you, how's your poker going? Like, always wanted updates. Doesn't matter where he was in the world, but we were always communicating. And I think, that 2022, and especially now, there's so many things that I'd love to get his advice on. Like, have I got too many trees in my backyard? Have I got too much Lego in the living room? What are his thoughts on my poker room? All of like the little things that I just wish I could talk to him and get his advice from.
Yeah, but you could get plenty of advice on all of those things, but you don't want their advice. You want his advice.
I know, because I know what they will say, but I want his opinion, because he'll tell me the truth. He'll be like, nah, that's too much. Come on, Jacko, you need a bit more homely things or earthy things. But I don't know. There's just so many things that I've done in the last 3-4 years that as soon as I've done them, it's like, oh, I wish I could tell Dad, or I wish I could show Dad. And the older I'm going to be getting, the more I'll realize I probably have missed out, or he's not going to see a lot of things. Like me and Kai went to our good friend's wedding over in Lake Como in Italy.
Yep.
And it was the first time I'd been to a wedding where I was hearing both of their dads, or James's dad, talk to, is it the brides and groomsmen?
Yep.
Yes. Talk to the bride and groomsmen about like how it was growing up and walking them down the aisle, all those sort of things that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to hear those words from Dad. Brooke and Summer aren't going to have their dad walk them down the aisle.
Yep.
So all these things that, you don't really think of until you experience them. You're like, oh.
Spot on.
So that's the stuff that is sad. But I feel like the best thing we can do is, because we can't bring them back, the best we can do is just remember them, which is keep talking about them, do things that will make them proud, honour them. And I guess for you, 18 years since your dad's passed, is there things that you do almost every day or have done to honour him, remember him?
So my
only if you're comfortable talking.
No,
about
no, I'm fine. In the garden is when I get a sense of him. He was a bit of a green thumb. My eldest sister was really big on getting a rose each from the family house when he passed. We've called him all the father's love, and so making sure I look after that. The last 2 weeks, the leaves have gotten brown because it's in a pot. We've just moved house, and I need to find a permanent spot. We've only got a semi-permanent spot. So every time I walk back home and see that rose, I think of him.
Special.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. If anyone smokes a cigar, I think of him, because that's what he did.
Yeah.
And if anyone has a bourbon and Coke, I think we do that on the anniversaries of like his birthday or his death.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. My middle sister's okay with drinking bourbon and Coke, but my elder sister forces her husband to drink the bourbon and Coke because she hates it.
And it's cool that like all of these things we do since, our loved ones have passed, we do to remember them and to make them happy. And it's almost like as soon as something like that happens, everybody from all, your relationships all come together to honour and remember the same thing, because we're all experiencing it together. We're all sad. We all wish they were still here. So one thing that I love is, obviously Dad was a big smoker his whole life. On the toilet, in bed, at cricket, all that stuff.
I've got a story about that. You've just reminded me. Go.
Can't wait to hear it. And now it might sound weird to other people, but when I'm walking past a group of people, or I'm in a car park, or I can smell like specifically Dad smokes, it actually makes me really happy, because I feel like he's here. It's his spirit, which to some people would be like, why do you like the smell of smoke? Because I don't smoke, but when I hear it or smell it, occasionally I go, oh, it's a nice smell.
It links you to something.
Yeah,
it links you to him.
It makes me remember something emotional. When I used to wake up before school and get the newspaper from out the front, walk it to him into the toilet and give it to him. There you go, Dad. Like, thanks, Jacko. And was reading the paper on the bathroom. Like, that's all the stuff that just makes me happy. So that's when I smell it, get all those flashbacks.
So the smell was similar as well, because I hated the smell of cigarettes. And there was a time at Hobart, we were playing Big Bash, and I was going to the toilet. We've won the toss, we're batted. I've come back in. I thought I'd go to the toilet before I pad up and get everything ready. And as I'm walking into the bathroom, he's either here or he's been here. All right. Anyway, so I'm on the toilet, and for some, I'm not sure if he saw my shoes. I used to wear the rainbow laces for Zadie Foundation.
Yeah.
And he's gone, Bobby, is that you? And I was like, what? What the? and he was in the next cubicle, but he was just there darting because we've spoken this before. He just needed to find a place to dart without getting caught.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, mate. Yeah, you're all good. And he goes, yeah. He goes, mate, you're a good batter. Like, for fuck's sake, just go out there, like, take it on and make some runs. And I'm like, all right, yeah. Yeah, that's I need to finish up here. Yeah, no, thanks, King. Yeah, done, mate. No worries. Yeah. And so I went out and I got 60 off 40 balls. I thought, that was pretty good. But Luke Wright made his first 100 that game as well, so overshadowed me. But it was we had a record partnership at that time.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you talked about your dad smoking, and then you could smell it or see him or find him anywhere in the toilet. If anyone said to me, "Oh, would you ever spend time in the toilet cubicles with Warne while you go in the toilet?" I would have pissed myself laughing. But again, his mind was always on trying to motivate you.
Giving you the self-belief.
Better you 100%, all whilst having a dart.
Yeah, and that's why I think so many people loved him, and that's what's been so nice for me is hearing all of these stories, because it was Mitch Swepson after the Stars game when I handed over the mace. He came up to me and he's like, "Look, Jackson, we haven't met before, but just wanted to say I love your dad, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but a lot of my technique I actually base off your dad. He was my hero." And it's just, all these cricketers that I've grown up and watched my whole life, never thought of those type of scenarios, but when they see me and they want to tell me those stories, I guess for them it's also nice to get off their chest, but then it's also nice for me to hear it, because it makes me realise how many people Dad had an impact on in such a positive way, and especially the cricketers.
And do you know what you're doing as well, particularly being around you the last 2 or 3 months, is your ability to be authentically grateful for everything that they talk about your dad. I reckon I listened to one of these that might have been the Finchy one or the last one you did before Christmas, and you're talking about, Jackson Warne 3 years ago probably wasn't as open or spoke as eloquently as you do now, but the authenticity that comes through. So when Sweppo comes over and said, "Mate, thanks, I loved your dad," you could have turned around and said, "Fuck, who are you? Thanks, pal," and walked off. And so for you to then obviously remember that, take that in, and add it to your mental collection of memories post your dad, I think is pretty special and a credit to yourself. Maybe Kaya as well.
No, thank you, Bobby. A lot of credit to the other Bobby in the room, Kaya Bobby. So no, thank you, Bobby. It has helped me a lot come out of my shell. I was always the shy and introverted kid and teenager and adult, and you would have seen me as the shy one in the change rooms a lot of time, probably always behind
I
Dad.
saw you three. I didn't see Summer as much, and maybe because she's younger, but she's also quite shy as well.
Yeah.
The opposite of Summer is Brooke, obviously.
Yeah.
We'd obviously see Brooke and see her jumping around, obviously in the viewing rooms and stuff like that as well. And you were sort of like, all three kids are going to be different, right?
Yeah.
You were always, I wasn't sure, are you gonna see more towards Brooke, or are you gonna sort of sit sort of more introvertly, like you said? And you probably tick both boxes now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I tick both boxes, and I like to explain to people that if you got Dad and you sort of chopped them in half, you've got me and Brooke.
Yep.
So when you put me and Brooke together, you get Dad.
Gotcha.
That's what I've sort of explained to people.
Yep.
And there was a really good example of that when I was catching up with Baz McCullum just by coincidence after a Coldplay concert in September last year.
Yep.
And we were just talking to him. We were sharing some stories of the New Zealand Open and golf together, and advice that Dad had given to Baz about cricket and just everything. And he's like, "Gee, you're so much like your dad." And I'm like, "Well, look, if you actually met my sister Brooke and combined us, you wouldn't." He's like, "Oh, really? What do you mean?" And then Brooke's just come from around the corner after having a smoke with some chips and the drinks and gone, Baz, do you want any chips and a drink? Here you go, mate. And Baz has just gone, "Oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Now I know what you mean, Jacko." And she's like, "Oh, what do you mean? What were you talking about?" And I've just gone, that is just the perfect example of when you get me and Brooke combined.
You've timed that perfectly. Playing for St Kilda Cricket Club was special to me for so many reasons. It helped me as a person, helped me as a cricketer, and put me on a path to the level I got to from a cricket sense. But it also creates opportunities. Now, the opportunity to play club cricket with your dad was enormous. But generally, when he was playing club cricket, he's either, I think at one stage it was a shoulder reco he was coming back from. There was a suspension he was coming back from. So there was a unique circumstance why he'd come back to play. And there was time where I think he'd spoken to a nutritionist or a dietitian, and normally, like we'd have salad or chicken salad rolls for lunch. Like we'd go to the club and say, here's $5 each. We'll get a roll each. He walked into the change rooms before the game and had All Bran, right? Because he's on a diet.
What's that?
Special K or All Bran. It was a cereal.
Oh, cereal,
So BYO bowl there, milk, bang, bang. Went out to warm up, come back for lunch. You were like, do you want a salad roll? No. Again, bowl of cereal, and then went like, what's going on, mate? Like a salad roll's not gonna. But he goes, nah, this is what I'm doing. I don't like that shit. I'm just gonna eat this. I've got to lose a bit of weight, and away you go. So he was very fussy, wasn't he?
He was very fussy, and we used to like to call it, we're just simple. You know, we're low maintenance, we're simple eaters.
Are you the same?
I'm very much probably a lot worse, actually. I've gotten a bit better the last 2 or 3 years, but no, we're looking at Kaya now because, yes, I know.
So give me, so
I pretty much eat eggs, chicken, steak now, but up until, I only tried my first ever steak a few months after Dad passed. And guess how I had it? I put it in the oven.
Blender?
No, I put it in the oven at 200 degrees for an hour.
And it took you an hour to eat as well?
I wanted my steak to be like a hamburger. I didn't want to see any red. I didn't want anything leaking out. I wanted to feel just like...
So you say you were a vegetarian before this?
No. So up until I just was a simple eater, so just eggs, bacon, toast,
chicken,
cereal, schnitzel.
Yep.
Hamburgers, pizza, lasagna, pasta.
So then when you and Kaya went out for dinner, like if you were dating...
I didn't eat. On our second date, went to Sorrento Hotel, ordered a margarita pizza, was too nervous, couldn't eat it.
And then once you found the courage enough to eat in front of her...
Then you know what happened? I found out Kaya is like my mini-me because she's also a very fussy eater.
Well, at least if you've got two peas in a pod, that works out okay. Then
it's perfect.
Could imagine like the angst of someone hoeing into like this beautiful sirloin while the other end you're just like, I can see red. Put it away.
No, that was definitely me at the start, but now I've tried all of them. I tried rare, medium rare, well done, medium well, and I just prefer medium well. Because sometimes when I go to restaurants and I also well done, they just take the piss and leave it on the grill for 45 minutes and then it's generally inedible.
Yep.
So now I just ask for medium well, but that's just what I like.
Yeah.
How do you have your steak?
Jacko, you're probably speaking to the absolute opposite. The only thing I don't eat...
Fruit Loops.
Probably... Well, I've stopped eating them. Like I used to eat them as a kid.
How good are they?
I used to have them like a cereal with a spoon, and I got to the stage where I would put them back in and I'll just use my fingers and eat them. Like they're a really good snack, but I don't eat anything. Like I was the size of a house when I was a kid and I'm heading that way again now, but I love food. I love food and it makes me happy, but I'm not someone that needs, like I don't need to go to fancy restaurants to enjoy my food. I enjoy good food.
Yeah.
But I don't need to go somewhere where the plate's the size of this desk and the food you get is the size of a cup holder.
Yeah, I think me and Dad probably went to, in our life, less than 10 nice restaurants.
Yeah.
All of our birthdays, milestone dinners, celebrations, it was always Macca's or Barbaloo's pizza.
Right,
it was just Macca's pizza.
Barbaloo's pizza's good.
Drive-through. Barbaloo's is great. So it was always, he loved Potchies. And there was one in St Kilda, I'm forgetting the name, but he always used to order it on Fitzroy Street.
Yep.
That was his
Topolino's.
favourite. Topolino's. Yes. Good memory, Bobby. Yeah, Topolino's. That was his favourite. So, we were just simple eaters. But going back to his diet with a nutritionist, you bring back a memory that Dad used to explain, and I think this is why he didn't get along with all the sports psychologists. Not sports psychologists, sports scientists.
Yep.
Because, yes, the sports scientists say, no, you need to eat X diet for this, and you'll get your energy output and your protein and your macros, you lose fat and kilo. Like Dad just hated all of that.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, but if you put me on a certain diet and I might get a little bit stronger and lose a little bit more weight and have more energy, but you're not letting me eat what I want to eat, so I'm going to be frustrated. Yeah. You're just going to make me more stressed. If you're making me more stressed, I'm just going to smoke more. And if I'm going to smoke more and I'm stressed, I'm not going to perform. So just let me be. And that's why he hated all of those like boot camps when you go on the retreats and you do all this type of training and all this stuff before playing cricket. And he just could never understand why pushing some 200 kilo car with 10 other people, sleds, doing all these exercises. He just always used to say to the coaches, how is me doing all these military styled exercises and drills and getting woken up at 2 a.m., a month before the Ashes, going to make me bowl better leg spin? That was always his...
They're valid questions. I remember Dennis Lilly, when people use swimming as an additional form of exercise, which I like swimming, and he goes, tell me a fast bowler that swims. They've got to run, they've got to bowl, and they've got to run again. You know, and all the simplicity makes sense, right? But I feel like that all those things that pushed a lot of people. Your dad had the resilience there already. And so for I could imagine the boot camps that you're talking about, Justin Langer would be setting his alarm half an hour before like the SAS officers or whoever they were. He'd be pumped ready to go. So it's a good point, is that the hardest thing as a coach or a teacher or a parent for that matter is to go, we've got a big group of people. How do we make all of them thrive? Because what your dad liked and what someone like Langer liked and what Glenn McGrath liked could be three completely different things, and it's not just one cat fits all. So,
and that is such a good point, because I actually have a really embarrassing story of something that my dad did. I wasn't doing the best at school. The grades weren't, there was whatever. But then Dad went into a parent-teacher interview, and I was telling him I wasn't getting along the best with the teacher, where there was a bit of friction. And he said he went into this parent-teacher interview, and he's like, mate, and the guy's telling him, I'm trying to get all the students to do this, but, Jacko's not following. He's like, yeah, but mate, you've got 15 to 20 students. They're all different personalities. If Jacko wants something different, or if that student wants something different, you have to adapt. You can't just, and he started talking to this teacher like he was in, like the coach as a coach. And I just found it that was Dad. He was very protective, and I just found it a little bit embarrassing because I was still at school, and then probably all the teachers were speaking to the other teachers.
Well, it's a hard one because there'll be times where his messaging is spot on, right? But then all of a sudden, anything he says, because of he is who he is, then potentially comes across differently, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you were in that. Correct me if I'm wrong, you did a few boot camps with him?
No,
Dad?
I missed
the stories.
I missed. I only vaguely know the stories of when the Bushrangers did the boot camps. I've seen some pictures and stuff like that. Chuck would obviously be across all that sort of stuff. I reckon I missed your dad by. When did he finish there? I reckon I missed him by
07.
Yeah, I missed him by
4 or 5 years.
I was in the squad the year before, the Vic squad in 05-06, but he wasn't and so I think the overlap I've missed by a couple of years.
But you would have played with him at Rajasthan Royals and at the Stars.
Yeah.
But Rajasthan Royals, what was it like going over there and playing in India with him? Because you came in the 2009 year off the back of a championship.
Yeah. So because him and Chuck were close, I don't know who made the decision. Whether I listened to Finchie's story about like how your dad rang Graffy, and Graffy put two suggestions together. I don't know whether he did the same thing then, or I did well in the final for Victoria in the T20 before that, and they've sort of picked me up. And I jokingly put my hat in the auction ring as a joke. Like I'm not
like. Have you seen Harry Potter?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I was going to say it's like when one of Harry Potter's friends put his name in the Goblet of Fire. It's like, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? It's like, you've just put your name in the IPL auction.
Right in the Goblet of Fire.
But I'm going to look like an idiot now because you haven't seen Harry Potter.
I'm the one. I think I'm in the minority that haven't watched Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So I'll need to get to that. Sorry.
That's okay.
But so that happened. But so I'm thinking India, Rajasthan had just won the first iteration of it, and I'm thinking, hey, good's this going to India? Like it's going to be wild. There were tensions in India, and I think there was an election at the time, and it was so bad that they actually moved the IPL to South Africa. And so that IPL was in South Africa. Again, never been to South Africa. Really lucky that I went with Shane Harwood, who played for Victoria as well. So I had someone I knew. But I was actually Shane Watson was in the squad as well. Yeah. And the first time I ever sat up the front of the plane, and you're lying down on the two beds, and I'm next to Watto, and Watto was really nice to me at the time, and I didn't sleep a wink because I was so worried about farting next to Watto that I'm like, I can't do anything wrong to this bloke. Like, I don't want to put him offside, and all of a sudden he can't sleep because he's smelling my farts. Like I was literally like, you doze off, and then I'm like, no. Yeah. No, I've got to stay away.
And then you start to get the stomach cramps because you're holding him for too long.
And I didn't go to the toilet to wee sometimes. I went to the toilet to fart. Just so it was like I just made sure I didn't want to fart in front of Watto. So that was the start of my APL experience. But then we were based in Cape Town. Now, Cape Town, obviously South Africa had their struggles and still got a lot of struggles at the moment, but Cape Town is the most amazing place. And I'm so lucky and grateful because of Chuck and your dad to have had that opportunity to play there. Yeah. And I think I played like 2 or 3 games. Yeah, but I think 3 games, didn't get a run. My very first ball hit for 6 at Cape Town's ground. Next ball nicked off. and then got dropped, and then halfway through, Watto was coming back from injury, and your dad was, look, mate, I'm so sorry, I've got to let you go. Watto's back, and then 24 hours later, Watto's been picked in the Aussie team, and so he goes, hey. You don't have to fly home. You're back.
Yeah.
So then I made a 50, and then another 3 games where my biggest regret is I took the IPL. I didn't take it as an opportunity to further my batting.
Yeah.
I took it an opportunity to go, I'm going to explore South Africa. I'm going to explore the nightlife. I'm going to have fun with, you got Graham Smith from South Africa. You got Warne Morkel, South Africa. Guys that you go to, you've got one of the greatest in your team as a captain, your dad. But then you go around the breakfast buffet and you got Sachin Tendulkar, you got Brendan McCullum, you got Jacques Kallis, and you look around, you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? And that was, I probably took it that way and try to build connections with people, as opposed to going, you know what, this is an opportunity that if I make runs here, this could help me from an Australian sense, or this could propel me financially in more IPL tournaments. But unfortunately, no good. Yeah,
but then after that year, so you just didn't get picked up again?
Nah. Yeah, so I got let go, and rightly so. Yeah. And then they picked up. They went with Finchy, who I think he only did 1 year with Rajasthan.
Yeah.
But I think he ticked off a couple of teams after that.
Yeah, I didn't realise he'd played for so many when he came onto mine, because I said, now you played with Dad at Rajasthan. Oh, no, sorry. I said, you've played for a few IPL teams. He said, yes, I actually met your dad when he picked me for Rajasthan Royals, because he drinks, he smokes, he gambles. So let's pick him. I said, oh, perfect, Finchy. But yeah, well, that's okay. At least you've got something to look back on, and you had a very fun, it sounds like, experience.
No, it was. And your dad wanted to create that, right? Like, even for the warm-ups. So he was so anti, like, warming up for an hour and a half, cones. He'd look at it and go, what are those Muppets doing, honestly?
Just do what you think will get the best out of your body. And
if you wanted to have a hit, he'd go get one of the assistant coaches, throw you some balls. If someone wants to bowl to you, that's fine. But then we're not warming up until the toss is done. And if we win the toss and bat, we're doing a batting warm-up. If we win the toss and bowl, we're doing a bowling warm-up. And one of his gripes, and rightly so, was, if you went to a test match or some T20s now, they do a 40-minute warm-up before the toss. And so I look at Peter Siddle going through his motions at the moment at the Stars, and then they lose the toss, they get sent in, and then he goes and sits down for an hour and 15 minutes. And your old man was before his time, and he's spot on. Like, why would you need to do that?
Yeah.
As long as you allocate some time before you need to warm up.
Have you given any of that advice to any of the Stars or any of the other team you've been coaching or being involved with? No, you smirk.
No, because it goes back to the same people that would probably irritate your dad. That it's the S&Cs and some people who probably think more is less and more is appropriate. So but I'm doing some school coaching at the moment, and I tend to just get them to warm up, play a game of soccer, try and get the toss done as soon as possible, and follow a similar method of, we're batting, all right, let's bat. And for those who want to bowl, if you really want to bowl now, you can do it in your own time. So it makes sense to me.
And I guess it's what, obviously these sports scientists know what technically is the best for your body. But even for your mind, if you've just gone out there and you've done 40 minutes in the nets bowling, but then have to sit for an hour and then you go out to bowl again, you're probably not as warm as you should be. You probably only need 10 to 15, and then you go out to bowl, you're fresh and you're ready. You're not exhausted, you're not fatigued. Yeah, that was one thing, Dad, he was a very passionate AFL fan, especially for the St Kilda. And that's just one thing, is that there's too much running. And now you look at how many people are getting injured all the time.
I actually watch basketball games as well as footy games, and I'm actually more intrigued in the warm-ups than the game itself sometimes, because I watch, and I know I'm 43, bit overweight, not as fit as I used to be, but if I did an AFL team's warm-up, that's a massive fitness session for me in itself, let alone before they go out and run 15 kilometres.
Yeah.
That's huge. I'd love to find out. Like, I think you've had Sammy on at some stage. Bakes, surely, like, they could tell you and go, like, it works or it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I know back in the day there was nowhere near as much running, and now I know when I spoke to, I think it was Finch, about some of the Geelong boys, but I know with their training, and this might be, like, it might have been the Hig as well, every AFL player on their team usually has to do, like, a squad training, like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But then each player has their own roles and their own KPIs that they have to get by the end of the week.
Yep.
Now that person, let's say, for example, if it's a small forward, they might have to kick 200 goals in the week from all these different positions, practice, some speckies and ground balls and goals on the run. That's fine. If you complete them in 2 days, you've got 3 days to rest. If you complete them in 4 days, you've got to go a little bit each day. But that means each player is just doing their role. And then, yeah, sure, when you've got those group training sessions for match sim and whatever else, that's where you build the chemistry and the bonding, strengths and weaknesses. That's great. But nowadays, when you see all of even the backman or the ruckman having to run 10, 20 Ks, that's so much running.
Yeah.
And then I think that's why we're seeing so many players that are so lean getting so much injuries.
Yeah.
It has to come down.
There's a lot recently, and then there's even talk that the boys are getting too much break between the Christmas period as well. But I think the thing that most people know, and if they don't, is that if you and I are on an AFL list and we get 2.5 weeks off over the Christmas period, we've still got a program we've got to complete.
Yeah.
It just means we're not going into the club and having structured training. We're having informal structured training off-site. And it's not 22nd of December, they've come down and watched the backyard series game. They're getting on the cans and they're staying on the cans for 2 weeks. They're actually doing a fair bit of fitness.
Yeah, I guess there's no days off for an elite athlete, and especially the players that want to take it to that next level, that are getting outside training or going to America and doing all of their extra fitness.
Are you a runner?
No, I hate it.
I
absolutely hate it. That's why I VW'd when I did SAS, which was the military course TV show I did a few years ago. Just going into it, the only thing, the one thing I knew that would make me just fall very far behind from everybody else was running.
Yeah.
And
maybe you've never liked running.
Never liked it. And I think maybe that's why I got it from Dad, because I know he was very anti-running too. He hated running. The two things I've gotten from is we're both scared of spiders and we hate running. And maybe a bit of diet and poker and all that stuff in between. But they're the two things.
What if you, because he obviously played a game or two for the reserves.
St Kilda, yeah. I reckon if Dad could wave a magic wand, he would have loved for me to play at AFL. And when I was playing footy, when I was playing footy growing up, I was always either halfback, flanker in the forward pocket. I was okay, but as I got older, I would always just put my hand up full forward and just try.
Looking at your arms now, is it just weights that is your vice,
Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, no, it's probably all the Maccas that I've been eating. It just goes straight to my arms, all the cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets. But
you don't have a fitness vice at all?
No. Or what do you mean vice?
So for me, I've always enjoyed. So I was, as a kid, as I said before, I was really chubby and wanted to avoid running. I hated it because it was hard. It felt hard. I wanted to have my 2 or 3 cans of Coke a day, and that was me. And then when I realised that school wasn't a thing for me, I was never the greatest cricketer growing up. And then there was a time when I went to England, and I went to England 100 kilos and came back 115 kilos.
Sounds like Dad the very first time we went to the UK as well.
Very similar, and because that's what you do. You drink so much, the cans you get are double the size over there. You drink pints instead of pots. Schooners weren't a thing in Victoria back then, and you become piss fit, which is good if you want to go toe to toe with someone. But when you come back, and I was shocking, and it was someone like Sean Graff and a couple of senior blokes at St Kilda that said, pull your finger out. Yeah. Academically, I had nothing to stand on. I was just working in a couple of factories, and my dad was great. He was a great support, and he was sort of like, he never said this, but he just kept pushing me with cricket, because if I was going to do something any good, it was going to be with cricket. And so running became something I hated to something that I link with something that came good from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's like almost facing your fears. And for me, when I did SAS, the 3 fears of me when I was going on the show was cold water, socialising, and trying new food.
Yep.
And then on the course, I tried new food, I met new people, and I got in the cold water for every challenge. And now, fast forward 6 years from that, I can nearly talk to anybody about anything, meeting them for the first time, and I actually like it. I actually like socialising and meeting new people. That's the other part of it, isn't it? Exactly. And then second thing, I have an ice bath at my house, which I have a few days a week, so I've faced my fear of cold water.
I think it's that.
And food, I haven't got as adventurous with my food yet, but I started eating steak and I eat a little bit better. I feel like I'm a little bit physically fitter now. But it's weird that when you face the fears or the things that you thought you were scared of and you actually, be consistent with it, you're actually like, oh, that's not that bad. What
How do you
makes
go
you
with the
happier?
ice bath? Do you actually feel benefits from the ice
Yeah, I
bath?
do. I definitely feel it in my skin, and I feel lighter. That rush of adrenaline and natural dopamine you get for doing something that's essentially requires zero physical effort, zero emotional effort, and it's just all mental. And it's only a minute out of your day or 2 minutes
Yeah.
for how much it can set you up for the rest of the day. If you can do that first thing in the morning, which is probably the hardest thing you'll do all day, it just sets you up with the domino effect of
Summer's
doing
easy.
good.
Summer's easy to do
Yeah.
because you've
It's a
got
bit
that
hotter.
contrast,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
But
yeah.
do it in, so went through a stage of trying to do the Wim Hof like shower. So my
Oh, the
shower's
breathing,
always
yeah.
taken 20 seconds to heat up. And so if I've done a fitness session, I'll put it on and I'll stand under. And in summer, it's fine. When you work on your breathing, but in winter, there's no escape. You're like,
No.
what am I doing?
I know it is a pretty crazy feeling, but it's like that. Just more and more reps, being consistent, and just getting out of the comfort zone. I feel like that's where a lot of the growth comes from. Just getting uncomfortable.
What would be the longest run you'd do to raise money for a charity or a foundation?
The longest run I've done was Connor's Run. Do you know Connor's
Yeah,
Run?
yeah.
That's in Sandringham.
Yep.
I think that was just under 19 kilometres. I think it's 18.8
Have
or
you done that?
18.9. Yeah, I've done I think 5 of them
Have you?
or 6 of them when I was a teenager. The last one I did I think was 2018 or 19, around then.
Yeah.
But yeah, did heaps of them. But I would sometimes stop for a little bit and then jog and then stop. I've done Run the Tan the last 4 years doing it, which is only just under 4K up and
Yep.
down hill, which is fine. But yeah, it's definitely something that I know once I start doing, I'll probably really enjoy. But starting is the hardest part, and
Spot on.
especially running.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
Melbourne Stars now.
Yeah.
That's my earlier sort of memories with you and with Dad. That's what we spoke about at your Melbourne Stars podcast as well. What was it like playing at the Melbourne Stars, first year at starting, with Dad, all of the other guys there, David Hussey, Ed Maguire being the president, Australia's first ever, serious T20 format. Well, I say serious, but when it started, it was meant to be a bit of fun. What was that like?
It was awesome to be involved in. I felt like at the time that, so that 15 years ago takes it to 11, 12, I think it started. And I was more than, I guess, comfortable where my game was at as well. I didn't perform as well in the T20 stuff that I liked, but all the other stuff that you mentioned, we got so lucky that, and I don't know who pulled the strings, who made stuff happen, but stuff happened, right? If we decided that we need to fly somewhere early for preparation, we'd do it. We made sure that the hotels we stayed at were the bee's knees, and there was no stone left unturned in terms of what we needed and what we wanted to prepare. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As you said, like there was a tiniest of gimmicky stuff in that first year because everyone's like looking around and going, who's taking this really seriously?
Yeah.
And who's not?
And do you think that's because of the music, the fire, the fireworks, the theatrics, all that
No,
sort
it
of
was
stuff?
because a
or
lot
is
of us had come from the state base. So we'd played 2 years of state-based T20 before that. And so the rivalries between states are genuine, right? And we talk about, and we touched on it in that podcast, the Renegades and Stars rivalry. That didn't really exist. There was no rivalries. And we're going from wearing navy blue to walking out in Pakistan green.
Yeah.
And so
With big stars on your chest.
with massive stars and all of a sudden, you've Eddie Maguire's coming in, then Warnie's there, and then next thing you know, there's all these people that are linked in high profile either
some way,
job
shape, or
spots
form with Melbourne,
and then they're on the board and all that sort of stuff, and we're sort of like, what the fuck's going on here?
yeah.
But I think 1 or 2 games in, and your dad probably drove it. Is that no, we're here to win. We need to win. We want to win. And like by all means, just had this like, if you want to go for a few beers, fine, that's great. But when we're coming to play, and there's high expectations that we win.
And do you think the Big Bash would exist if the IPL hadn't started? Because that was sort of the very first Premier League T20 tournament.
No, I reckon it would have came about because I reckon England started it first.
Oh, did they?
I remember Hodgie going to play at Leicester. A bloke called Ian Harvey was playing, and they were playing T20 games in the county circuit there well before the IPL. And it was more that they probably just didn't promote it and build it. And they didn't. I mean, cricket in England, as you know, there's a lot of membership base. There's a lot of old people. You make 20, you come off, and they're like, well played, chap, well played.
In the village cricket leagues.
And the village cricket leagues, you've got paddocks one side, a couple of houses the other side, and a little club rooms that you play at. And They started it, but I just don't think they grew it and took it on as much as. And as soon as India, and again, you've been to India,
having a billion people and who absolutely love it,
who love it,
have got the money to fund it and everything
correct
as well.
And then there becomes egos, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm a part of the Rajasthan Royals. That's my team, or that's our team. And then
it was very patriotic, wasn't it? A bit like Melburnians with their footy team.
Yeah, I reckon it's still like that on steroids.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting how the next couple of years evolve here in Australia in terms of privatisation. So
has it turned private now, the Big Bash?
Not yet.
Not yet. Is it going to?
It seems likely.
So that was something that Dad always wanted in Australian sport, because you go over to Europe and you see all like the EPL and all that sort of stuff, all the Spanish, Italian leagues. A lot of their teams are owned by people.
Yeah.
So he loved that. Let's say, for example, let's say Dad owned St Kilda Football Club.
Yep.
He could just make that football club such an entertainment and a place where people want to watch every single game, because you might have somebody perform at the start of the game, in the middle of the game. Your team might score a lot more goals, because imagine if I told, the forwards of the team, if you kick a goal, I'll give you $5,000. And if you can kick 6 goals in a game, I'll give you 50.
Correct.
All of a sudden, that forward is going to be screaming, give me the effing ball.
Yeah.
I want to win that. Like, all of a sudden, that's the incentive.
The two strikers be fighting off each other, trying to get the ball.
Exactly. So they're all like the creative things he could do, and he loved that. And so, the Melbourne Stars is something he would have been so involved with, and he absolutely loved. He would have loved to have been a part of it.
Well, I know that he was. It seemed at the time he was reasonably close with one of the owners, Manoj Badali, at the time, and so what's going around now, and it's in the 100 in England. They've gone through the privatisation process, and I think the only thing that's really holding Cricket Australia back, and all the states, is
they don't want to lose control.
It's control, and you can see why, because if you looked at like a map of how I guess Indian ownership or BCCI, whatever it's just evolving over all the countries now. It's helped some countries like South Africa and the T20 simply because they're struggling financially, they're struggling politically, and this model comes in and just fixes everything. But ours isn't broke on two things. It's not broken and it's not broke. And so I think that's why it's taken so long. So but it would have been amazing to have your old man in from obviously a guidance perspective, but then also I'm sure he would have probably wanted to, go delve into the Stars.
How do we grow it? How do we make it bigger and better? And what was Dad like at the Stars? Obviously, he was the greatest at the time. Or in my opinion, the greatest ever, but he would have obviously been retired for a few years, just coming off winning a championship at Rajasthan. Over 40 years old, he would have been around 42, 43 when he was playing. What was it like seeing someone in their 40s still go out there with the mindset, no, we're taking this seriously. We want to win. Ignore all the outside noise. We want to win.
It was probably led by his actual bowling. I remember him bowling to Finchy at one stage, and I think Glenn Maxwell, and I'm thinking, I think Finchy got him once at Marvel, but he didn't get him away at the MCG, and the way I think he was on commentary at the time, who I reckon 2 or 3 times he explained the process of how to get someone out, and it worked, right? Or nearly worked, and I think Maxwell was at one time, and then we spoke about this other day, that time with Brendan McCullum, and talking about, I'm just going to try and slide it in around his legs. Now,
fast.
And I don't think he actually envisioned happening what happened, but it happened, and so it happened. It got him, and I'm running in from deep cover, going, "Oh, how good's this? Like he's got their best bat out. This bloke isn't here for gimmick. This bloke wants to win. So that was him, and you get in there, but at the same time, like it's not just Mr. Serious. He gets there. And you give him a high five, and he goes, "I fucking called that, boys. I called that. How good's that?" And Wadey's like, no, he did. That was pretty good.
So you realise he's just a bloke. He's just one of us.
He's always been like that. So, mate, one of the really special memories about your old man from a St Kilda Cricket Club perspective was we're at Essendon Cricket Club at Windy Hill, and there's this old grandstand above where the change rooms are. I think it's the Alan Hurd stand, and we're playing Essendon in a one-day game. We bowled first. Big crowd. Like you mentioned, I think before, East Sandy, when he played 10 years ago, there was a crowd just as big, a few thousand people. Anyway, so we've bowled, we've gone in to get changed. I'm batting 5 or 6, so I've just got shorts, T-shirt. And then so there's about 6 of us that come up, and we're watching the game. Now there's a set of chairs, 1 or 2 rows where us boys are sitting watching the game and talking a usual rubbish. and then there's an aisle, and then your dad was sitting the other side because he was mindful of not blowing dart into our faces as well. But there was a line that had been organised at the lunch break
for autographs,
pictures, and all that sort of stuff that would have gone no shit about 250 meters.
Yeah.
And it was like down the steps, along half the ground, and ended just in the car park there.
Yeah.
And he had the ability. So we already felt like we're his best mate just because how he made us feel in the change room that day. Then he's talking to us about the normal stuff like normal guys do. And then he's talking about the game and what's unfolding and who's that bloke? Geez, he looks like he's a bit of carry on. Dart in mouth, but also giving enough time to the kid or the parent or the person that came over and goes, "Can I have your order? Hey mate, how you going? Love your hat," you know. And for us, we're sitting there going, "How is he doing? Like this is extraordinary." But knowing that person just had an encounter with Shane Warne, and he said, "How good's my hat?"
Yeah,
you're not taking it off after that. but that's the power that your dad had. And it's a choice. He didn't have to be like that. And then when I was in South Africa with him in the IPL, like his patience got tested, but just, you know,
he was exactly the same.
He was the same as much as he could, which that would have been tough.
It was, and I'm so lucky I got to see him do that his entire life, all around the world, never said no. And I reckon the only negative interactions people would have experienced with Dad would be probably people on the road. Just because Dad was a pretty fast driver, he's a bit impatient. But as soon as it came to the fans, yes, mate, what would you like? Do you want a video, a photo, autograph? He always had time for kids, always wanted to help people, and always wanted to make people smile. That's just all he wanted to do.
But that's a choice. Like he didn't have to do that. I remember that time when the bike rider and he suggested that bikes have number plates, right?
Yeah, which I stand by. They should have a red. I've seen hundreds go through red lights.
Yeah,
cut people off. There's 10 cars lined up, ready to go at a red light, and then one just comes around the side, then sits in the front, makes all those 10 other cars merge.
I don't mind if they cut to the front, but if they stay to the side so it doesn't inhibit any movement, then that's fine. I just think that there's a used to be minority, but now it's slightly bigger than minority. There's some really ruthless drivers who don't give a shit about cars, and there's ruthless drivers that don't give a shit about bike riders. Now, if that was less or non-existent, we're going okay. It's a lot easier. But like you said, if all of a sudden, the bike goes through the red light, you're like, how's that fair?
Yeah, it's not fair. Well, I want to go through a red light as well. Let me go through.
I'm sure you do.
But no, the one thing you mentioned yesterday on the Melbourne Stars podcast is you said when you sort of finished cricket and you were done with all of that, there was a big part of you that didn't actually want to watch or really be engaged with it or really be involved with the sport. But now that you're back commentating, you're actually finding yourself really enjoying it and being involved in it again. Was there a certain thing that had happened or a reason that you were just like, no, I just don't want to?
No, I think it was an element of being burnt out, but then also when you get older, you get grumpier. Like you've got ages to worry about that.
Yeah.
But
well, I still feel kind of 50 years old, just in a 20-year-old body. That's how I feel.
Does he act like that?
Just
fire? No,
I don't really. On the weekends, I'm not just one at home and building Lego. Okay.
How good's it? Yeah, she's great.
Kai, I've molded it to be my mini me. It's perfect.
Well played. It was that, but then also you because I didn't necessarily have I didn't have the success that I wanted at a certain level. I'd be like, stuff it. Like if he fails, oh well.
You got a little bit of resentment, just
a little bit, and I'm not normally that person, and I reckon the last 2 or 3 years I've found the opportunity to watch and enjoy. Now, if someone comes on and plays for Australia, plays for the Stars, whatever, looks like a bit of a nod, bit of carry on, I'm like, it's fine. That's him, that's her. If they want to do that, that's fine. And I'm here, and they're entertainers, and I'm here to watch some good cricket, and that's what I want to do. And I love it because I still do some coaching. Like I do some one-on-one coaching with some kids, some teenagers, and trying to give them what my dad tried to give me when I was their age, and knowing what I know now, to help make them reach their ceiling. Their ceiling might be first grade at East Sandy. Yeah, it might be first grade at Elstonwick. It might be Australia. But it'd be nice to help out from that sense.
Well, I'm sure the cricketing world is welcoming you back with open arms, and I'm sure you're making so many kids happy. And it's awesome seeing you at the cricket. I know when I was at the Melbourne Stars game, running at the Mace, seeing you walk around on the lap with me, you made me feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more happier. So thank you for that. Good luck with all the rest of your commentating, and I hope you have a great 2026. And Bobby, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Is there anything you'd like to end on or tell the audience of what you've got going on? Or anything you'd like to plug?
Nah, nothing to plug.
Sure?
Nah.
What about your cricket coaching?
Nah, don't need to plug
sure?
it. Nah. It's going well at the moment. I just want people to enjoy cricket. Remember that there's Sheffield Shield cricket on after Big Bash as well. But thank you so much for having me on. I hope those listening got something out of it, and the way you've obviously constructed this podcast, hopefully there's a little something for you as well, mate.
There was plenty. So thanks you so much for coming on the potty, and good luck and have a great 2026.
You too. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Bobby.
Awesome, well done,
work.
mate.